Hi everyone, welcome to the Primary 6 revision class. Today we'll be going through the one of the prelim exam papers from this website, SG Free Test Papers. You guys can also print out your own copy from here and try out the questions. Okay, let's go straight in. Okay, we'll be doing the ACS Junior 1. I'll be choosing like some of the more difficult questions to explain to all of you. Okay, the first one that we are going to be doing is, oops. Okay, the first one that we are going to be doing is, let's see. Okay, this one, okay, it's about average. So let's underline together. It's the most important thing to do in your exam. Underline every question, okay? So the first thing they tell you is the average of three numbers is 34. Okay, so 34 is an average, which means after you calculate an average already, right? You take the three numbers, add together. Okay, in order to calculate an average, okay, you add up number one, number two, okay, because there are three numbers here, right? Okay, and number three. Divide by 3, that will give you your average, okay? You add up three numbers, divide by 3, that's how you get average. So if the average is 34, that means that 34 equals to number 1 plus number 2 plus number 3 divided by 3, okay? So what we need to do when we already form an equation is that we need to bring over the numbers so that we can eventually get the answer the question, which is the question is finding the other two numbers, right? Okay, this is the question. You need to find two of the numbers. And then they also tell you that one of the numbers is 28, so you can actually put in 28 in the equation. Okay, so let's put in 28 into the equation. Let's assume number 3 is 28, okay? So your number 3 will be 28. So this is how you put in the number into the equation. You need to continue the equation, then just put it in. Okay, so the next one will be 34 equals to number 1 plus number 2 plus, then you put in the 28, right? So 28 divided by 3 equals, okay? Yeah, but basically you write out the whole equation again, just put in the 28 equation, okay? Now we need to learn how to bring things over. So if you want to bring anything over, you must change the sign to the opposite sign. So as you can see for the 3 at the very bottom over here, right? Okay, this 3, do you see that? Okay, this 3 is a divide by 3 because there's this divide line. So when you want to bring over the 3 over here, okay, so what we're going to do now is to bring all the numbers to one side, all of the like number 1 and number 2 to the other side. Okay, this is called isolating the numbers. Okay, so we're going to bring the 28 and the 3 over to the 34 side because we want to put all the numbers on one side and the number 1 and number 2 on the other side. Okay, so when we want to bring the 3 over, we need to see what sign is the 3 because when you bring over anything, you must change it to the opposite sign. Okay, what do I mean by the opposite sign? You want to bring over divide, you must change into times. You want to change times, you want to change into divide. Okay, so divide and times are opposite signs. Plus and minus are opposite signs. So you want to change plus, you must change to minus. Okay, so first we are going to bring over the number 3. So number 3 is a divided by 3, right? This is a fraction over 3. Okay, so currently it is a divide by 3. So it is a divide by 3, right? Okay, you want to bring this 3 over, you must change the sign from divide into times. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so 34. Okay, change the sign from divide into times 3 equals to number 1 plus number 2 plus 28. Then the next thing you need to do is to bring over the 28. So remember I said opposite sign. So if you bring over the 28, it will become a minus sign, okay? So let's bring over the 28. Okay, so actually as you move on to the next step, you can already solve the 34 plus times 3. So let's solve 34 times 3. 34 times 3 equals to 102. So, okay, this thing, 34 times 3, okay, let's solve it, 102. Okay, then after that, you must also bring over the 28. Okay, see this 28 here, you bring it over. Okay, so when you bring it over, it changed from plus to minus. So minus 28. Okay, change to the opposite side. Then you keep the number 1 and number 2 on that side. Because remember, we are keeping the number 1 and number 2 on one side, the numbers on the other side. Okay, we always want to isolate the one that we know and the one that we don't know so that we can find the one that we don't know. Okay, so in this case, number 1 and number 2, okay, if you take 102 minus 28 equals to 74. So number 1 plus number 2 equals to 74. Okay, 102 minus 28 equals to 74. The number 1 and number 2 is still on the same side of the equation. So number 1 plus number 2 equals to 74, okay? Oops. Okay, so number 1 plus number 2 equals to 74, as you can see here, okay? So the answer is supposed to be that the two numbers, okay, because they're finding which of the following are the two numbers. You have number 1 plus number 2, the sum. So you need to find out of all of them, which one the sum equals to 74. Right? That's the only way you can find it because you can't find the individual numbers. So you need to use a different way, which is basically add the two numbers. Do you get 74? Because if you get 74, it matches the equation that you just found. Okay, so let's do this one. 42 plus, let's do the multiple choice option number 1, 42 plus 54. Okay, because we're adding them up to see whether they add up to 74, which is what we need. Okay, so this equals to 96, so it's not correct. Okay, next. 36 plus 38 equals to 74. Is the one we are trying to find 74? Yes, it is, right? Okay, so this is correct. Okay, same as the 74. Okay, next. I'm just gonna continue to check if the others are not 74. Okay, this is 62, so it's not. And then 24 plus 26 is 50, which also is not. Okay, so the answer is number 2, right? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, these are all quite easy. Okay, remember this kind of question, you need to read all of the numbers, okay, in terms of their units. Okay, so this type of question, right, they are testing you on the unit. So you see all these, you see this and this. Okay, one is liter, one is ml. So you need to be able to convert the units. Okay, this one. This question, okay, is about circles. So what you do is basically you count the number of quadrants. So there is actually 5 quadrants, okay? See, 5 identical quarter circles. So it's 5 quadrants. So what you need to do is take the radius, which is 10, okay, and then take the formula of area. So area equals to pi r squared. Okay, so that is for one circle, right? Okay, so is there one circle here? Yes, because one circle is made of 4 quadrants. Okay, one circle is made of 4 quadrants or 4 quarter circles. So the area will be, okay, your R is the 10 cm. Okay, this is your R, which is your radius, right? Radius is 10 cm. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to find 4 quadrant plus, okay, plus, what is that blue line? Okay, you need to find 4 quadrant plus 1 quadrant because you have 5 quadrant here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 quadrant here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so wait. No, okay, so you need to find okay, one circle is equals to 4 quadrant, but you have 5 quadrant here, so you need to find you need to find 4 quadrant, which is 1 circle, okay? You need to find 1 circle plus 1 quadrant. Okay, why? Because you see this four quadrant equals to 1 circle. Okay, you see that? 4 quadrant equals to 1 circle. So in that case, we have 5 quadrant here. So 5 quadrant will equals to 1 circle plus 1 quadrant. So what you need to do is you need to find the area of 1 circle, which is pi. The r is 10 square plus the 1 quadrant, which is the 1 quadrant is 1/4 of that, right? So actually you can just find the 1 circle first. Okay, so the 1 circle equals to 100 pi. Then 1 quadrant, okay, will be 100 pi. Can actually just take it divided by 4 equals to 25 pi. Then you must add them together. So, okay, you add them together is 100 pi, which is the circle, area of the circle, plus 25 pi, which is the area of the quadrant that you found over here, right? You found the area of the quadrant here, where you divide by 4 to get 1 quadrant. So the answer is 125 pi. Okay, then you must add the unit cm squared. So its answer is 1. Okay, next one. Now, this one, okay, remember to, okay, because Owen took the solid, okay, the whole solid. Do you see the word whole? Yeah, so he took the whole solid and then he dip it in green paint. What that means is that if they dip it in green paint, okay, it won't just only coat the outside part that you see, it also coats the part where it's touching the wall. You see the behind part here? Behind of the, okay, not the place where I color black, but basically behind of the solid, okay, you also need to count the area there, not just the in front, because he pick up the entire solid, then he put it inside. So it's not just they just splashed the paint and he took up the entire solid and then put it into the paint. Okay. Now let's try this question. This one is an angles question. Okay, so the first thing you need to see is the word equilateral. What does equilateral mean? Equilateral means all sides are the same. So let's label that. Okay, you label that using the one line first. So let's continue reading. Okay, STUV is a rhombus. So STUV, you need to also label, okay, that it is all the same length. Okay, so you need to label both you need to label all the sides that are the same. So the rhombus, all sides are the same. The equilateral triangle, all sides are the same. Remember, if it's a different, if they're not the same, if you never say both the triangle and the rhombus are the same length, you have to use like one line for the triangle and 2 lines for the rhombus. So you can't just use one line for all, basically. Okay, anyways, let's get into the angles. So firstly, for equilateral triangle, okay, if you are not given any angles here, you can actually still find the angle in the equilateral triangle. How do you do that? Because all angles in the equilateral triangle, okay, you see the yellow angles, they are all the same because all sides are the same. So the property of the equilateral triangle is that all angles in the equilateral triangle are the same. So if you remember your property of the angles, all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So what do you do to find the angles if they're all the same? If all angles are 180 degrees, all angles in the equilateral is the same. You can take 180 divided by 3 because all those 3 angles are the same, right? Okay, that gives you 60 degrees each. So 60 here, 60 here, 60 here. Okay, then now, let's look at the next part. QRST is a straight line. So when they tell you that, it means they want you to use the property of a straight line to find the answer. So what can you do to use, what are the two properties of a straight line that you can use to find the answer? One is that opposite angles are equal. The next one is that all angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees Celsius. I mean 180 degrees, not Celsius. Okay, 180 degrees. So let's try both methods, okay? If we use all angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, and this is your straight line, then it'll be 180 degrees minus 60 degrees equals to 120 degrees. Right, this one will be 120 degrees. Then then you do the next one, 180 degrees minus 120 degrees equals to 60 degrees. So this one is 60 degrees, okay? But as you can see, the two opposites, the two opposite angles over here, okay, if you see the red, oops, if you see the red color one, okay, these two opposite angles are the same. It's because they're opposite angles. Opposite angles are equal. So there's also one property you have to remember. Opposite angles of straight lines are equal. So in this case, yeah, it's equal. Then if it's equal, right? Another thing you need to know is that another property you need to use in this question is actually that the rhombus has all parallel sides. Okay, all sides on a rhombus are parallel, so you need to label that as well. So as you can see, there are lines that are parallel, and what have you learned in a trapezium? It looks like a trapezium, right? You see TRVU looks like a trapezium. Okay, so what have you learned about angles between parallel lines? So you have to know a property angle between parallel lines. Angles between parallel lines add up to 180 degrees. Okay, and then another thing is that in this rhombus, do you see that there is actually an isosceles triangle? So you see this here, and this, okay? This means that it's an isosceles triangle, right? So there are actually two isosceles triangle. Okay, this actually the isosceles triangle. Okay, so as you can see, that was one isosceles triangle. This is another isosceles triangle. But we're gonna use the green one because I don't think we need to use the other one. So again, now let's find this angle over here. You see the black one I just drew? Okay, this one. Yes, okay, this one is you use the property of triangle again. 180 degrees minus 60 degrees minus 52 degrees equals to 68 degrees. So this is 68. Oops. Okay. Okay, this is 68 degrees. Yes. Okay, so if that is 68 degrees, remember what I told you about the isosceles triangle? Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to find this one over here. So okay, so for this one, the black one that I just shaded, right? That one is all angles between parallel lines add up to 180 degrees. So actually, you already did it here, 180 degrees minus 60 minus 52. So this is also 68 degrees. Okay, then now, oh, sorry. Okay, so you didn't need to find this one, okay? The one I'm erasing. You didn't need to find that. You need to find the one that I just found, which is this. Okay, you need to find this. So remember the angles between parallel lines, KR equals to 180. So this over here is the angles between parallel lines equals 180. So we take 180 minus 60 minus 52. Okay, there's 60 is this one. 180 minus 60 minus 52 will give you this one, which is 68. Okay, because they're between the parallel line, okay? Okay, anyway, so you found the 68. Now you need to make use of these two isosceles triangle angles, which basically means that those two angles are the same. So you remember 180 degrees makes up a triangle, right? So 180 degrees minus 68 degrees, then you can actually divide by 2 because you see, okay, why did I divide by 2? Because you see here, these two angles are the same, so you divide by 2, okay? Okay, so if you calculate that, you get the answer. 180 minus 68 divided by 2, 56 degrees. So that is your answer, which is answer number 3, okay? Let's see whether there are any other questions that we can do. Okay, this one is about renting a bicycle. Let's solve these 3 questions. Let's just do booklet A for now. The table below shows the rates for renting a bicycle at a shop. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do it. So you need to follow me. You need to like underline the question as I'm underlining it as well. Okay, the table shows the rate of renting a bicycle at a shop. So Daisy rented, okay, so it's talking about rates here. Maybe it's talking about rates. And Daisy rented 2 bicycles from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Okay, and then the next one is she paid a total of $32. So they give you a total for renting the bicycles. And then they give you the first hour and for every additional 30 minutes. Then the question asks you, how much did Daisy have to pay for every additional 30 minutes or part thereof of renting a bicycle? So what does part thereof mean? Okay, this means that means part thereof can mean like less than 30 minutes. Okay. Why can it mean that? Because it means a part of 30 minutes, right? So it's like less than 30 minutes. So you need to like, sometimes if you never see the word before, like part thereof, you just need to guess the meaning. So when they say part, what could it mean in this case? Probably less than 30 minutes, right? Okay, so how much did Daisy have to pay for every additional 30 minutes? So you see, as you can see, there's a question mark there, right? Question mark, so there's a question. Okay, so let's work with what we have. The first hour is $8. Okay, first hour is $8. Then after that, Daisy rented from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you must look at the time. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you need to see how long did she rent, because every additional 30 minutes she'll pay a certain amount of money, right? So you need to see how many 30 minutes did she rent. But keeping in mind that the first hour is $8. So you must minus $8 from the amount first, okay? So let's do that. $32, you minus away the $8 first, because the $8 is part of the first hour. We are counting the number of extra 30 minutes, not the first hour. So we minus that off first. Okay, 32 minus 8 equals to $24. So now we need to calculate in the remaining time after you minus. Okay, so this is the amount after the 1 hour, right? After you minus the 1 hour. The 1 hour amount from this, which means for the time you must also minus away 1 hour. So from 3 p.m. to 5:50 p.m., right? this is, okay, you do until 5 first, okay? Oops. Okay, if you draw a timeline, this is 5 p.m. This is 2 hours, right? Because 3 to 5, 3 to 4 is 1 hour, 4 to 5 is 2 hours. Then this one is 15 minutes. Okay, the last part is 15 minutes. So now what you need to do is that you need to minus off this 1 hour from, okay, minus off this 1 hour from the 2 hour over here. Okay, so if you minus off the 1 hour from 2 hour, the remaining time, okay, so 2 hour 50 minutes minus 1 hour equals to only 1 hour and 50 minutes. Okay, so this is the one, this 1 hour and 50 minutes is your extra 30 minutes. The additional, okay, I just changed additional to extra. This extra 30 minutes. So this is the amount of time that they calculate they charge you for the extra 30 minutes. So you need to find out how many 30 minutes or part thereof there is inside the 1 hour and 50 minutes in order to find out how much money they have. So inside of 1 hour and 50 minutes, how many 30 minutes do you think there are? Right? Okay, what you can do is, well, just change into all minutes, if it confuses you, okay, into all minutes. So 1 hour and 50 minutes equals to 60 minutes plus 50 minutes, right? Because 1 hour is 60 minutes. So in total, 60 plus 50 is 110 minutes. Okay, then you need to find how many 30 minutes there is inside of 110 minutes. So what you can do is you just take 110 divided by 30. Okay, this is how you find how many of something there is in something. You just take the thing divided by the thing. Okay, so 110 divided by 30 to find how many 30 minutes there are inside of 110. Actually, you will get 3.66666. Okay, a lot of six behind. So as you can see, if you how many 30 minute or part thereof, right? Okay, is that there is actually 3 plus a part thereof. So this 0.666. Okay, this 0.6666 is your part thereof. So therefore, well, thereof. Okay, thereof. So you need to take 3, okay, which is there are 30 minutes. There are 30 minutes. Then you see this thing, the part thereof is actually less than 1. So it's actually 3 plus 1 because you still count that 0.6666 as a 1 part thereof. So even if it's a part thereof, you also charge the same amount. So basically, okay, equals to 4. If you add 3 plus 1, which is the 3 plus the part thereof, equals to 4. So there is 30 minutes inside of the time that she rented. So basically, okay, let's go back to over here. Okay, look at the green part. Okay, that is where you where you minus off the first hour already. So actually, whatever is left there, this $24 is only the 30 minute or part thereof. So you need to find inside of the $24, right? How many 30 minute or part thereof there is. So remember when I say you want to find something inside of something, how many of something there is inside of something, you take the thing divided by thing. So 24, you want to find out how many you want to find out if there are 30 minutes, okay, how much is 1 30 minute? So you must imagine this is the 24 is for 30 minutes. So you must divide by 4 to find out 1 30 minute. So 24 divided by 4 goes to $6. Okay, I'm going to explain a bit more. Okay, I erase this. Okay, why is it that 24 we take it divide by 4? Okay, so just now we we minus off the 1 hour already. So $32 which is the total. We minus off the $8, which is the first hour, and we got $24. So $24 is the total amount of money that she was charged for the 30-minute or part thereof. And then just now in our working, we found that there were 4 30 minutes in the time that she spent there on top of the 1 hour. Okay, so the time she spent there was 1 hour plus 4 30 minutes. Okay, 4 times 30 minutes plus. Okay, not plus. 30 minutes or part. Okay, or part thereof. My handwriting. Or part. Okay, 1 hour plus 4 times 30 minutes or part. So the 1 hour was $8, right? Okay, then plus this amount, which is 4 times 30 minutes or part. So we need to find out what the amount is. Okay, we found is $24 because the total is 32. So 28 minus 8. Okay, you look back at here, right? So the $8 plus the 24, which is 4 times 30 minutes. So now you need to find how much is 1 30 minute. So 24 equals to the 4 times 30 minutes, right? Okay, so you want to find out how much is the 1 30 minute. What you need to do is, okay, you need to take this 4, you need to bring over here. Okay, so remember, if you remember what I said, if you're going to bring over anything, you need to change the sign into the opposite sign. Okay, I don't know if I said that before, but yeah, you need to change the sign to opposite sign. So over here is times 4, right? So you want to shift over here, must change into divide by 4. So 30 minutes, okay, it equals to 24. Remember I say change the sign? Okay, divide by 4. Okay, that is a divide sign, okay? So let's do that, okay? Okay, see this 4? Bring over here, become a divide. Okay, times 4 become a divide. Okay. So that the answer is 30 minutes, okay, is 24 divided by 4, which equals to $6. So the answer is 1, which is for every 30 minutes or extra, she paid $6. Okay, let's move on to the next question. At first, Mrs. Ang had twice as many red beads as yellow beads. She used 2/3 of her yellow beads and some of her red beads to make some necklaces. Okay, this one, I think it's not that difficult, so maybe just go to the one at the bottom first. Mrs. Sammy baked chocolate and strawberry cakes at a children's party. The number of chocolate cupcakes. Okay, let's read together and underline. So this is how you need to read. Okay, you need to read and underline at the same time. So like this, okay. So Sammy baked chocolate and strawberry cupcake. So okay, that's not very important. This is how you underline, okay? So they say something about chocolate ones. Okay, chocolate one is 5. Okay, we only underline the word chocolate. So chocolate is 5/7. When you compare it to strawberry, okay? 5/7, the number of strawberry cupcakes. That means when you compare the chocolate, okay, the number of chocolate is 5/7, the number of strawberry. What that means is when you compare the chocolate to the strawberry, it is 5:7. Okay, 5/7. So what you can do is you can actually write this in ratio form first. So as you're reading, you're also writing it down. Okay, chocolate is to strawberry is 5:7. Okay, chocolate is the one that has less. So you need to be able to convert the fraction into a ratio first. Then Sammy baked some blueberry cupcake. So now it's a different cupcake. Okay. It is in fact a blueberry cupcake. So in the end, 25% of the 25% were chocolate. Then they want you to find how many is blueberry. So do you realize they only give you the chocolate and the strawberry? But then they did tell you that 25%. Let me use a different color. Okay, they did tell you that 25% are chocolate and it's 25 of the total. So actually that is the clue. This 25% of the total that is chocolate is the clue you need to find the blueberry, even though they never give you any information about the blueberry. Okay, so this is your clue. And so basically what it means is that out of all the cupcakes, right? So there is chocolate, there is strawberry, and there is blueberry. Okay, a blueberry, you don't know what is it, right? It's a question mark. But you know that this one, okay, the chocolate equals to 25%. Okay, and then the strawberry equals strawberry and blueberry is the other percentage. So if the chocolate is 25%, the other two will be 75%. All right, so your clue is the fact that you have a percentage for you to compare with everything, right? It's 25% of the whole thing, so that is everything. All right, so you use that to compare. Very important clue because this 25% will tell you how many percent of blueberry there is, which is how you find it, okay? So the question is not about the number of blueberries, it's about the percentage of blueberries. So what you have to do is now you have 75% equals to strawberry plus blueberry. You need to find the percentage of strawberry. Okay, so how do you find the percentage of strawberry? Well, okay, I know this looks like this is, oh, wait. Okay, this is a number 5. Okay, so I write like I wrote my 5 like a S. So, okay, this is a 5. You write 5 is to 7. So 5, so you know that 5 is 25%, correct? 5 equals to 25% based on over here, okay? So that means that if you want to find the strawberry, okay, is 7. So if 5 equals 25%, you want to find what 7 is, right? How many percent? Okay, you need to first find the 1%. So 5 divided by 25 equals to 1%. Okay, so basically 1% equals to 1/5. Okay, so what you can do is you must find how many 1% there is inside of. So remember that the most important thing is to find out your 1%, okay? Every time you're doing percentage, the most important thing is find out what is your 1% first. Because when you have your 1%, you can use it to find out any percentage of any number. Okay, so your 1% equals to 1/5. So you must find how many 1/5 there is in the number 7. Okay, so how do you do that? You take 7 divided by 1/5. That is how you find how many 1/5 there is inside of 7. So remember I told you just now, if you want to find how many of a number there is in another number, you must take the number divided by the number. Okay, and which number divided by which number? Well, you take the number that you are using to find divided by the number that you want to find how many there is. Okay, so 7 is the number that you're using to find. 1/5 is the one that you'll find how many 1/5 there is inside of 7. Okay, so you take 7 divided by 1/5 to find how many 1/5 there is inside of 7. So, yes, okay. Let's see how many of that, okay? 7 divided by 1/5. 35. So there is 35 1/5 inside of 7, which also means there is 35, okay, 1%. See this? See this? See that? Wait, let me just use a highlighter. Because 1% equals, oops. Because 1% equals to 1/5. So when there is 35, okay, 35 1/5 inside of 7, that means that there is 35 1%. That means there is 35 1% inside of 7. Okay, 35 1%. So if there's 35 1% inside of 7, that means that 7 also equals to 35%. Right? There are 35 1% in 7. So that means 7 equals to 35%. You know what I mean? Like, imagine there's 35 1% inside of 7, which means that is 35%. Basically what it means. So the most important thing is you need to find the 1% first, then you need to find how many 1% there is inside of that number. That will tell you how many percent is that number when you compare to everything. So because there's 35 1%, the percentage of 7 is 35%. Okay? So this percentage of 7 is 35%. Now, you know this one is 35%. So because this one is 75%, you can just take 75% minus away the strawberry, which is 35% to give you your blueberry. Okay? You see this one is 75%, right? Then because the strawberry we already found is 30%, so you take the 75 minus the 35%, gives you 40%. So the answer is 40%. Okay, because you are finding the blueberry, which is the remaining one. Okay, so 40%. All right, let's look at the last question of this section. Okay, the on top one, this one. Okay, Mrs. Ang has twice as many red beads as yellow beads. So twice means 2 times, right? Then she used 2/3 of her yellow beads and some of her red beads to make some necklaces. Okay, let's use a highlighter now, not this. Where's my highlighter? Okay. Twice means 2 times, and then she used 2/3 of her yellow beads. Did she say how many red beads she used? No, okay, that's a question mark. It's just some, you don't know how many red beads she used. Okay, to make some necklaces. In the end, there were 3/5 of the beads left with red beads. Okay, so 3/5 were red. So let's write down every single piece of information. Always remember to write down every single piece of information when you're doing your question, okay? Write down sentence by sentence. So firstly, red is to yellow, okay, is 2:1 because red, okay, has twice as many as yellow, right? Red is twice. Okay, then the next part is she used 2/3 of her beads, of her yellow beads, and some of the red beads. So this one actually what she used, right? So this is before. Okay, let's do a few ratio. Before is like that. After, right? Okay, R is to Y is 2 minus some. Okay, because you use some of the red beads, and 1 minus the 2/3 that she used, which also equals to 2 minus some is 2 1/3, right? Because you solve here, then you get 1/3. Okay. Then yeah, you took 1 minus 2/3, which equals to 1/3. Okay, so next, in the end, 3/3 that were left were red beads. So actually this one, I mean 3/5. Okay, so 3/5 were red beads, which means this one has to be 2/5, right? If 3 beads are red beads, the other one, what is left other than red beads? There's only yellow beads. So yellow beads must be 2/5. Okay, so if 2/5 is the 1/3 in this ratio, okay, what you need to do is, okay, just take 2/5 equals to 1/3 of Y. No, 1/3 of okay, so 2/5 equals to 1/3. So you want to find, okay, the 1/3 is a 1/3 fraction out of Y's Okay, the main thing is if you have a fraction like 2/5 is y, right? Okay, so what you need to do is you need y equals to 2/5, and then r equals to 3/5. Okay, and then you look at the question here, which is fraction of the red beads did she use? So the one that she used, right, is the sum. So you're actually trying to find the sum. Okay, so how do you find the sum? In order to find the sum, you need to find the 1/3 first. How much is 1/3? Okay, you need to find how much is the um ratio when you are comparing it to each other. So basically, what you need to do is you need to match this to this. And basically, how you do that is you need to first match this to this. Okay, it sounds a little bit confusing right now, but let's try it this way. So let's say a ratio is basically a number that can be any number. So in order to make things easier, let's make the ratios into a whole number first. So do you know they can actually multiply a ratio into a whole number? So let's just times 3 on both sides, okay? Times 3 here. If we times 3 on both sides, becomes 3, okay, times 2 minus sum is to 1. Okay, because 1/3 times 3 is 1. Okay, so we times 3 on both sides equals to, then you must open the bracket, okay? 6 minus 3 sums equals to 1. So now if your 2/5, okay, equals to your 1, okay, what is 6? So yeah, okay, if 2/5 equals to 1, what is 6? So basically what do we do here? We actually make sure to multiply the 3, yeah. Let me show you. Okay, so as you can see, we multiplied 3 here to both sides, okay? We multiply to both sides. So we add a 3 here, and then the 1/3 over here, okay, times 3 becomes a 1. So basically we times 3, then after that we open up the bracket. Okay? After that, you see the bracket here, we open it up. So open up becomes 6. Then you must also multiply the 3 to the sum as well. Okay, so you see this? You see this 3 over here? Okay, you have to take the 3, you have to multiply like that. So the 3 times the 2 become a 6. Then you must also take 3 times sum. Okay, so basically you get this equation over here. Okay, 6 minus 3 sum equals to is to 1. And your 2/5 is basically your 1. So how do you find 6, right? How do you find 6? If 2/5 equals to 1, what is 6? Okay, maybe you put 1 unit, okay? So these are all units. Unit. If 2/5 equals to 1 unit, what is 6 units? 6 unit equals to 2/5 times 6, right? Which equals to 12 over 5. Okay, so basically 12 over 5 will equals to, okay, this is a very, very long question. So the thing is you need to use this thing called equivalent fractions. So, okay, let me use different color. So as you can see, let's look back at the 1 over here. Okay, the 1 unit. Okay, you must compare to the before. Okay, the before is 1. So is there any change on the y? No, there is no change. But then there is some change at the there is some change at the But the change is that she actually used 2/3. So what you need to do is to actually find plus 2/3 over there. Okay, so this is actually let's start the question again because yeah, okay, I realized how complicated this question is only after trying it. So let's try it again. Let's start from the very, very start. Okay, so Mrs. Ang has had twice as many red beads as yellow beads. Maybe we just draw a model because this one, if you use ratio, is too difficult, okay? So red is 2 bars and yellow is 1 bar. Okay, she used 2/3 of the yellow beads and some of the red beads to make some necklaces. So 2/3 of the yellow beads she used to make some. Okay, she used like this to make necklace. Use. And then she also used some, which we don't know how much yet. In the end, 3/5 of the beads were left. Okay, maybe the sum we just put like that. Okay, okay, so and 3/5 of the red beads were left. So okay, because it's 3/5, right? I think yeah, model is much easier. Okay, 3/5 of the red beads were left. So actually you're supposed to split these 2 bars into 5 bars. Okay, so let's start again. Is the model drawing. So firstly, red beads is twice as many as twice as many as the yellow beads, which is 1 like that. Okay, so the next one is that use 2/3 of the yellow beads. Okay, used. Then 3/5 of the beads left were red beads. So this one is actually 2/5, right? Because the yellow beads left is 2/5. Okay. So let's see the sentence. I'll show you again. In the end, 3/5 of beads left were red beads. So which means that if 3/5 of the beads left were if 3/5 of the beads left were red, that means 2/5 of the beads left must be yellow. Okay, because here is used 2/5 is the left for the yellow. Okay, so which means that whatever is left for the red is actually 3/5. So as you can see, what you need to do is you actually need to cut, okay, this part. See that? Okay, you need to cut that into, you cut this into 2 parts because it's 2/5, so it actually means it's 2 units. Okay, 2/5 is 2 units, it's 2 parts of 5. All right, so let's cut it into 2 parts. Maybe oops. Okay, maybe we put down the 2/5 at the bottom first. So we write here, this is 2. Right here, this is 2/5, okay? And we have to cut it into 2 parts. So let's cut everything into 2 parts like that. Okay. Then after that, you see each 1 unit there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so you must cut into 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so basically each one has 9 pieces. Okay, so this is 9 units. 9 units, okay? This is also 9 units. So what fraction of our red beads did Mrs. Ang use? Okay, and then she used 3 units. Okay, because here it is, this one is 2 units. So she actually used wait a minute. Let me go back. Oh, sorry, you're supposed to cut into 2. I cut it into 3. So okay, yeah, let's go back to this step. Okay, let me erase this. So let's write back the 2 fees there. Yeah, so as you can see, this is 2 units. This is 2 fifths. So you cut this into 2 like that. So this one all cut into 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each one is 6 units. Okay, this is also 6 units. So now 3 units out of the 6 units, right, is used for rate because there's 3 fifths. Right, okay, let me see, how do you know it's 3 units? Because the left, I mean the used, oh sorry, the left for rate is 3. So this is the left, okay? 3 units is left. Okay, so now we need to find what is the use. Okay, we have the left, but we need to find what is the use. So how do we find what is the use? Okay, we find out what is this over here, right? How many is this? So basically, 6 plus 6. 6 units plus 6, oops. Plus 6 units equals to 12 units. 12 units minus 3 units equals to, oh yeah, correct, okay. 12 minus 3 equals to 9 units. So this over here is left with 9. So now you're actually looking at fraction of her red beads, okay? Let me just color that. Fraction of her red beads, okay? So what does that mean? That means out of all of her red beads, what fraction of it did she use? So you have 2 amounts, 2 parts here, right? Okay. First, you got the 9 units, which is what she used. Okay, the 9 units is what she used. And then you also got the 3 units. Oops. You also got the 3 units, which is what she is left with. So you must find use over left is how much. That's a fraction, right? So in order to form a fraction of how much she used, you need to put used, oops. You need to put used over left. This is how you form a fraction for the amount that she used, okay? To form a fraction for the amount that she used, you need to use this equation, which is used over left, okay? Which is equals to the used amount is 9 units, the left amount is 3 units. So that fraction will be wait a minute. Oh, it's 2/3. Oh no, wait a second. Okay, because I saw this wrongly, okay? So we have to do it again. Okay, so because it's 2/3 instead of 2/5, I need to change it. So let's change this. Okay, so this one is 2/3. Oops, okay. So because it's 2/3, you're actually supposed to cut it in 2. I'm sorry, everybody. We need to go through it again. So let's erase everything and go through it again, okay? Okay, sorry about that, but basically what you need to do is, okay, I'll quickly go through it. So red is 2 units. This is twice as many. Then yellow is 1 unit. Okay, she used 2/3 of the yellow bead. So cut into 2/3. Yeah. Okay, it's a totally different thing. I think I was looking at it wrong. So yes, cut into 2/3. So first you cut everything into 2/3 first lah, okay? Then in the end, 3/5 of the beads left were red beads. Okay, so this is how much she used. So this is 2/5. Actually, I write this correct. Okay, this is 2/5. That is left for yellow, right? So what you need to do is cut this into 2 units. So 2 units, 2 units like this. So this one, each one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So here will be, you also need to cut this. So each one is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here is still 12 units, but let's see. How is not anything that is related to the answer? 12 units, twice as many red beads as yellow beads. 2/3 of the yellow beads and some of the red beads to make some necklaces. And 3/5 of the beads were red beads. Okay, because yeah, that one is 2/5, so it's 3 out of 12, right? That is left. This one left. 3. Then use this 9 U. So oh yep. So I think it's 3U over 9. No, this doesn't make any sense. Ouch. What fraction are repeated? Is this unused? This question is weird. Let me try again. Let me try first, then I'll teach you what's happening. So 2/3 of the yellow. Oh, okay. Yeah, what I explained is correct. Okay, so because what fraction of her red beads did she use? So you must do the use over the total. So it's used over the total. Okay, total of red. Okay, used red over total of red. So used is 9 units and red is 12 units. Okay, because over here is 6 plus 6 equals to 12 units. So the answer is 9 over 12, which is 3 over 4. So the answer is 3. Okay, I think that is enough for today. Okay, we have finished like most of the hard questions here. So thanks for sticking around. I'm so sorry for the glitch at the end. But yeah, hope to see you on the next lesson. Bye bye.